Welcome to Full Fashion Finish Strong Friday. And first and foremost, I want to issue an apology about last week's episode due to some unforeseen technical difficulties that were absolutely out of my control, and I learned a lot last week. It'll never happen again. A word to the wise is sufficient, but I apologize. And what I found now through the emails is that people have come to count on this session to give them a strong Friday. And while I was full fashion last week, obviously I did not finish strong. So I appreciate it for those of you that reached out to me, and apologies. But even as I had some difficulties last week, this week I think we're all facing some difficulties. Today, actually yesterday, is the first full day of spring, and many of us have spring fever. Believe me, I want to dust off my golf game. I want to get out and do some of the things I haven't been able to do because of the rain, the snow, the sleet, the things we've had here uncharacteristically in Georgia. But I tell you, over the next 5 to 6 weeks, I'm going to have a little bit of a departure from the way I've been doing things here over the last couple of months. And I know I normally am somewhat philosophical, somewhat inspirational, and believe me, I'll still endeavor to do that as well. But I'm actually going to get very instructional because spring is in the air. And for me, that's a time to go out to your garden like my wife is right now. Assess where things are. Determine where you want to put new plantings for the year. But basically, I want you to E4 your business. Now, some of you that have been with me for a while, some years, have heard me go through the E4 process and the concepts. But we're going to do that now just in the event that you're a little bit off target for your goals for 2014. So we're going to be doing this in a fast-paced series. Now, I know, again, attention span, spring fever, as the analogy continues. I'm going to endeavor here to take about 6 to 7 minutes, and I know that's really precise, but to try to go through a lot of different things that will help you make the adjustments you need to make to your business and get you back on track. And if your business is on track, to help you accelerate it. Now, most people wait till the end of the year, then they look back over the last 11, 12 months and say, wow, I sure didn't make my goals. It was a bummer year. I don't believe in waiting till the last minute. I think we've got to be able, week by week, certainly month by month, to be able to take a look at what we're doing and again, make the adjustments as necessary. For example, the number one resolution that everybody makes is losing weight. And look, I've got those last 10 pounds that I'm looking for as well, trying to get into my spring shape and summer Speedos. No visuals, please. But the reality is some of us are spinning on the wheel. We're stepping on the scale, and every day it seems to be no change. But when you tell me that you work out every day, then logic will dictate that where you're losing it is in your nutrition. Because at the end of the day, the simplicity of burn more than you take in is a simple one. And if you're not declining for other things besides medical reasons, then usually it's that you're not creating a deficit. The same thing in the case of earning money. You've got to be able to get the kind of activity levels that will get your income higher than your expenses. Revenue, profit, operating expense, etc. So that's what we're going to endeavor to do here over the next several weeks. So even as we look back on January 1, and that seems like a lifetime ago, we've got to take a look at your goals. But now I want to do it in a little more precise, a little more in-depth manner. So first and foremost, what are your objectives? What did you write down at the beginning of the year that you wanted to accomplish? And for all those things that you wanted to accomplish, did you make sure that you had the right strategies for those objectives? And then finally, the tactics. Now, next week, we're going to be diving deeper into this specific process and the mechanics of having the right objective, the right strategies, and the right tactics within it. But today, it's more about just jogging your mind to say, you know what? There's some things I've got to improve right now, this being the first quarter of the year, in order for me to reach my targets. And as I just mentioned, the first quarter is complete. Did that part of the year just fly by or what? Now, for me, it was frenetic, but it was also very productive and effective. And for me, that's the measurement you want to use. Are you productive and are you effective? But what we're going to do as we start to look back at your objectives, your strategies, and your tactics is first in the E4, we're going to evaluate. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But then we're going to evolve and then ultimately expand And then we want to explode. And again, if you're doing things that are working, we want to accelerate that curve to help you explode and exceed your targets. But if now is a period of adjustment or correction, then we want to be able to set you on course to reach those objectives. So the first E is evaluate. And that one is simple until you take a look at a lot of the things that you have in your life that are the moving parts that make the whole. And on my daily sales crumbs for the last week, I've been drilling in deep around metrics as it relates to your sales results. Things like cost per lead, cost per conversion, acquisition cost, close rate, the things that actually matter in terms of measuring your effectiveness and your productivity. So what would a thorough review of your metrics up to this point demonstrate? Would it show that there's some things that are working? Would it show that there's some areas where you have challenges? And as we evaluate and we make that determination of the things that are working and the things that are being challenged, then we've got to decide what needs evolution. If there's something that's working, can we tweak it to make it work even better? Or if it's something that's simply not working, can we evolve the process to get it to a higher state of effectiveness and productivity? The next E is expand. And this is about changing things. You need to spring clean the things that didn't work and get rid of them probably. But obviously to do more of the things that did work and to expand your horizons, expand the probability of success by way of your objectives, your strategies, and your tactics through expanding on the good ideas. And then finally is explode. And even as you can see the graphic here, when you think, have an idea, you do, and it begins to work, you do it again, and you do it again. But you want to do it on another level. And I always use the example, if I've got the number 1 and the number 11, both of those are actually the number 1, just on another level. Because we go through the range of numbers in our decimal system, and we get to 10, and then 1 is 10, or 10, 11 is 1 on another level. Every time you expand your opportunities and you progress through them, you should be going to a higher level. And then finally for this episode, and I know this has been a quick one, but it's been one of those that I think is going to be able to help you get restructured in the way you see your business, because again, April as the first marker of the second quarter is where most large companies begin to tweak and change and yes, evolve. And in order for you to be able to get the results you need, now is the time to sit back. Quite frankly, if you wait until June, July at the end of the second quarter, it's almost too late. It'll be very difficult to affect change in those last 3 months, 6 months of the year. This is the perfect opportunity for you to do it. And so even as my wife is out in the garden right now, making assessments, determining what goes, what stays, what expands, what explodes, and knowing that there's going to be a popping of color all over our yard because she's fabulous in the yard. As a matter of fact, I'll likely take a picture of the roses that cover our carriage house, our houses in general. And it's beautifully spectacular. It's kind of like the Masters and the azaleas in Amen Corner. But that doesn't happen by accident. The horticulturist and the people that monitor and manage the grounds there know that they've got to get those blooms to come in that first, second week in April, or they'll miss the show that they're trying to give the world and the legions of fans that love the Masters, including me. You've got to do the same thing. So whether it be that the objectives you establish in the beginning of the year seem like they're off target, don't fret. If it seems like the strategies you engage don't work, don't worry. If it seems like the tactics you thought you could do but can't really pull off because of skill development or because of some other circumstance, again, we're going to help you to build into a newer process, to build into an alignment of congruency between your objectives, your strategies, and your tactics. And ultimately, the goal is to allow April showers to bring May flowers. And money will rain down if you maximize your opportunities. So I'll challenge you today to hold off a little bit on that spring fever, to play that round of golf a little bit later, and believe me, invite me, I'll be glad to come and play with you. But let's get ready to E4 your business and prepare it for what's coming up in the rest of the year and still make 2014 your best year ever. So until next week when we get ready to dive deeper into this is Brandon Clay, and as always, I wish you money, power, success.